Hello Dragonites, and welcome to today's review of the Nanoxia CoolForce 1 mid-tower case. This thing is a thing of beauty, and I'm here to tell you why. So, we'll start out with the Nanoxia CoolForce 1 by simply saying it's a sleek, very plain Jane design case. You're not going to have any crazy bells and whistles, but this is going to give you a very nice clean look to your setup, to your gaming setup. It does have a tempered glass side panel, which is fantastic, and we are going to have a great fun modding this for our mom's project. So let's get right into the review. So we'll start out in the front. We'll rotate the case for you real quick. We have two 5 1/4 bays here for any optical drives, if you still use an optical drive, or memory card reader, or whatever you choose to put in here. Otherwise, the rest of it is kind of a brushed metal look, even though it is a plastic front and not metal. We do have an LED illuminated Nanoxia logo up here in the top left. Up here in the top, we have, starting from the left, we have a USB-C port and an LED controller, which cycles through that LED glow in the front panel and the logo. You have two USB 3 ports, and then your power on LED, your power button, and your fan controller. It does have a built-in fan controller for the built-in fans. It's just got a toggle switch for low, medium, and high. And then you have your normal mic and headphone mini phono jacks. So moving on, we'll go here to the side real quick. Included in the case, when it comes to the case, is one 120mm fan in the rear exhaust position. And then you have two 140mm Nanoxia fans in the front of the case. So we'll take off the tempered glass panel so you can take a good look inside, and we'll review the inside. Alright, now that we've removed the tempered glass, you can get a good feel inside. One thing to note, I have already taken out the hard drive trays as we had started to plan our mod and how things were going to fit in here. But these hard drive trays are really nice. They have a thumb screw right here on the top, and basically that thumb screw just locks it into the back right here. And it comes with 3 trays that mount vertically under the optical drive base. And it also has one other piece. This right here goes in the bottom of the case, right here, and it comes screwed in, just like this. And what this does is you can buy an attachment to hold extra hard drives. So that's a nice feature if you want to use this for like a NAS device or some sort of storage case, or even just a plain server and you just need some extra hard drives. That's one way you can do it, is get that attachment. So moving on, we have one Ssd holder right here in the bottom toward the front. We also have SSD holders in various other positions in the back of the motherboard tray as well. You have one 140mm, and it's also adaptable down to a 120mm fan grill in the bottom if you wanted to be able to pull in intake from the bottom. You have your PSU exhaust, your power supply exhaust right here. You have your power supply hole and mounting position. You have your PCI brackets, and as mentioned before, the 120mm Nanoxia CoolForce fan that comes attached with it. The optical drive bays, they come with a quick release for this, so you can just slide your drive bay into there. It would click into position, and then when you're ready to remove it, you basically hit both buttons on each side, and you're able to remove the drive without any tools or screws, which is very handy if you're constantly moving things around, swapping hardware like I am. So moving to the top, you have a support for a radiator up here. and you also have radiator support in the front. You can support up to two 140 millimeters in the front, and we have up here in the top, you got a little latch that you pop open, and then this cover, which they call it a dust cover, but basically what it does is it covers the mesh here. And in the mesh here, you have room for three 140 millimeter fans or 120s. Now keep in mind, if you do put a radiator up here, you're going to have to maybe mess with the optical drives. If you're going to want a 360 in here, you might have to do some modding. Otherwise, a 240 or a 280 up here in the top would work just fine. Keep in mind your clearances. Now just bear in mind the motherboard tray comes up to here, so you have this much thickness to slip a radiator in there, and then maybe get some fans in there too. You just have to be careful of the top of the motherboard tray, not interfering with whatever CPU cooler RAM you have going in. So that's the top. You got a nice mesh design right there, and it's can hold up to 3 fans. So that's always good. There's definitely a lot of fan support for both intake and exhaust. The motherboard tray comes with the nice rubber grommets, which I really like. I wish this was standard, but obviously on some of the less expensive cases, they take this cost out and they can sell it for a little bit less for the budget cases. It does come with all the attachments for the front top panel for all the I/O devices, the USB-C, USB 3.0, etc. And then you have your fan cables that come all bundled up, nicely ready to go. And then if we flip this around to the back, we'll look at the cable management. So there's 2 thumb screws, top and bottom. You just take those out and then give it just a slight tug outward and backwards until it pops out, just like here. On this back panel, you have some Ssd sound dampening material right here. It's about a 16th of an inch thick, so that's a really nice feature. Helps deaden the noise. Moving on to the back, like I stated previously, you have another SSD mount here. They do come with some cable management abilities. They got some Velcro zip ties in place, so you can run your cables all along these grommets when you're going in and out to the motherboard. You do have quite a bit of space. I could fit, basically my fingers, almost my hand, in between the back of the motherboard tray and the side panel. So you definitely have a lot of room to stuff cables. Obviously, you have all this room where the hard drive trays are that you can stuff cables that won't fit. But as long as you go with a modular power supply or something like that, if that's your concern, you can do that. But that's the case in a nutshell. We'll quickly go over some of the things that I wish it might have had for the CoolForce One. The back panel is very nice. It's got really good cable management, the grommets. And as long as you do your cable management and you do it nice, it's got extra points for mounting zip ties and stuff like that, whatever you desire. I actually like this. Without the tempered glass in the back panel on this case is actually rather light. So that's always good. I had a big full aluminum tower with a big steel door on the front, so I like the lighter cases now. So inside, well, one of the things that I wish it would have had would have been a basement here. So a shroud, a cover that would have covered the power supply, hidden out of sight. And then maybe whether it went full all the way here to the front fans, or maybe even coming, part of the way, just enough to, cover the power supply and the cables and stuff like that. Just something very tasteful and very simple would have went a long way to the aesthetics of it. The second thing that I don't care for on this case is the lack of intake airflow. So if you're not using the fan in the basement, in the bottom middle, you have very little air intake here. So you have a slot here, so it can suck in air through the bottom here. And then around this edge, in between, there is little slots cut into here. And that's it for air intake. For the clean look, it's really hard. I almost wish they would have brought this out maybe just a millimeter or two. This part of the design, this inner part, if they had just brought it out just a little bit, maybe, you know, halfway to where the, you know, thing is, you know, maybe to the bottom of the Nanoxia logo, just that bit alone would open up and it allows so much more airflow to get through, and the less chance of overheating or whatever. But that's it. So this is the CoolForce Nanoxia CoolForce 1 with the tempered glass side panel. This is what we're using for our next project, and I like it. For the price point of about $100, it's a very solid case. And I definitely would recommend it to anyone for just first build who wants that kind of a build that's not very flashy, that's very straightforward. This would be a great business case to build in if you're, you know, have a business and you want to build your own PC, but you still want it to look nice, but you want it to look sleek and professional. This would be a great case for that. But yeah, other than that, I love the case. More air intake and basement power supply shroud. Other than that, I absolutely love this case. One of the other things, so the top panel here that hides the grill, one thing they could think about doing is offering alternatives to this. What I would like to see is a mesh version of this, or a dust filter material, just for aesthetics and breathability, because obviously if you put this on here, it actually stifles the exhaust quite a bit. And it basically has to depend on exhausting out this little bit of mesh in the back. So I definitely would like to see some other designs here. If I get the time, I might have to do it in a second phase mod, but I'll have to cut some sort of exhaust out of the top, out of this, so when we put it in, there's plenty of exhaust room, and we can get this done. But that's it. That's the Nanoxia CoolForce 1 in Dragon's Terms. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe for more, and we'll see you in the next video. And keep an eye out for Mom's Mod, out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at DD Custom Mods, all one word. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next video. Have a great night.